God Squad from St. James in Red Bank, New Jersey, connecting faith and life, and you're watching Real Faith TV. Woo!
Today's society definitely views love more as selfish than selfless.
My definition is more like selfless, like I'll always care for like the other person more than myself.
Society defines love as, I think, as more of sex than of love, because especially in the movies, you see when two people love each other, it's a sex scene, it's not them spending time together.
They just kind of throw the word love around a lot without really meaning it.
Society defines love as something that's almost transparent, right? Like something you can put in your Instagram bio, something that can be called now friends with benefits instead of, monogamous relationship.
To me, love means putting someone else's needs above your own.
I have never been in love, but when I do fall in love, I hope it's with my soulmate.
I show my love to others by caring for them and showing that they can trust me.
I guess I just kind of show affection and make sure I'm always there for them.
By always being there for them and making sure like they're always all right. Like if they're upset, I'll help them out.
I could care for them and be there for them when they need it.
My favorite Bible passage about love is John 3:16, for God to love the world that he gave his only son. And I like this passage because it really shows how much Jesus loved us and how much God loved us and wants us to live eternally with him.
I feel an example of love is in the Bible when God did creation because he wanted to show that he loves us and started our lives.
God's only son gave his life for us, and that shows how much he loved us.
I feel Jesus' greatest act of love is when he died for us in the Bible because it shows how much he cared for us.
The word love seems to be tossed around all the time. You love ice cream, you love playing soccer.
You love your dog, you love your boyfriend or girlfriend, you love your best friend, you love your family.
Surely these uses of love can't all be the same. So what does it mean to love another person?
Do we view love as a means to seek attention to our needs or to help us feel better about ourselves?
Or do we view love as putting the happiness and well-being of others before your own?
What is love?
Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. No more.
That's what we'll be talking about today. Hi everyone, I'm Carolee.
And I'm Joseph.
And this is Real Faith TV. First of all, we'd like to thank the God Squad from St. James Church in Red Bank, New Jersey for helping us open the show today.
And for sharing what love means to them.
Today we will explore the meaning of love in a deeper way, not just the superficial way society represents it in movies, commercials, and songs.
Jesus tells us that the greatest commandment is to love God.
And that the second is to love our neighbor as we love ourselves.
Sometimes this idea of loving God can seem really big and abstract, but it is through Christ's example that we realize that to love God fully means loving others as he did.
So if the first commandment to love God seems hard to wrap our minds around, we can act on Jesus' second command, to love our neighbor.
And that will help us with the first because we are all connected through God's love.
In his first letter to the Corinthians, St. Paul gives us many specific characteristics of love.
Such as love is patient, love is kind, it is not jealous, love is not pompous, it is not inflated.
The reading is often heard at weddings, but it's not just for those entering into marriage. This is how all of us should be trying to love.
For our spotlight guest, Catholic singer-songwriter Matt Maher, love is a topic he writes and sings about a lot.
For him, to understand love, we must first understand the Trinity and how God works through each of us.
Let's go to Matt now and hear how he understands how God is love and how we can find Jesus in the writings of St. Paul.
God in his essence is love because Christians, we believe in a God of three persons, right? Father, Son, and Spirit. In those three persons, God loves himself completely in the sense that his love is not self-centered. It's actually other-centered. So the Father loves the Son loves the Father. Their love between each other is so great it creates this third person, which is the Holy Spirit. It's a sense of gift of self that's so focused on the other and not the self. So when Paul talks about in Corinthians, he's doing this illustration in chapter 13 to love is patient, love is kind, love is not rude. In some sense, he's giving us characteristics of Jesus, because Jesus really is God made manifest. So in some ways, it's love made manifest. Ask somebody, do you believe that love is all these things? Is love patient? Is love kind? And say, well, look around in life and ask yourself, what perfectly illustrates those things? And then we look at the Christian story and we look at Jesus, the things he said, the things he did, but ultimately him offering up his life freely, and ask yourself, does that meet the conditions of love? And I obviously believe it does. In fact, I believe it's the greatest illustration of love. Jesus said there is no love greater than to lay down your life for another. And if we can sort of look at that and kind of say, well, that's the standard by which we measure, then I think we're able to start to help people understand.
Matt Maher talks a lot about how sacrifice is a key component of love. And I would say I have to agree with him. I really do believe that sacrifice is a main component of what love is all about.
Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely the big sacrifices and the little sacrifices too that make the difference. Well, let's see what our studio guests have to say.
Okay, they are Faith,
Joanne,
Emily,
Lauren,
Juliana,
Monique,
Mike,
and Riley. How do you guys show your love for people?
The easiest way to show your love for someone is by holding the door, smiling at someone when they're having a rough day. These little gestures that show you care about other people and how they're feeling. Little respectful things,
I think also taking care of someone when they're sick. I know that my grandma took care of my grandpa for 17 years when he had Parkinson's disease. So I think that that's a way to sacrifice and care for someone.
I know that for me, I like to write a lot. So when I want to show love for someone, I show it for my friends or family and write them little notes and cards. I know for my friend's birthday, I wrote her a series of different letters with different ideas on the front of them. So before you go to sleep, or happy birthday, or when you get your first car. And each letter had a different meaning to it and a different quote, and I really enjoyed doing it.
I think just going out of your way to give someone a compliment can really brighten up their day, just like a smile or holding the door for someone. I think that the small things are really important. As St. Therese says, do small things with great love.
All right, well, it looks like you guys all really know how to show love, that's for sure. In the Catechism of the Catholic Church, we read that to love is to will the good of another.
This simple teaching reveals love as seeing the best in other people and showing them how much they are valued.
We can make a big difference in other people's lives through the little things that we do to build them up.
They come to know and trust us as people they can count on and make them feel appreciated and supported.
When we do simple things to treat others respectfully and courteously, like holding doors for people, offering to help with everyday things, it shows others that we are committed to their well-being, that we value them.
Making a habit of asking someone, "Is there anything I can help you with?" can make a huge difference in a relationship over time.
This is important not only in close relationships in your life, but with everyone you encounter.
You can make a difference in a stranger's day by showing them some compassion and respect.
Let's go back to our spotlight guest, Matt Maher, where he'll talk more with us about the selfless nature of true love.
And how through God's love, we can experience the fullness of life.
I think the first thing for anybody watching this, whether you believe in God or not, is to simply ask the question, are you living your life for yourself? Is everything you do directed for your own self-fulfillment? And how's that working for you? And some people would probably say it's working just fine. For some people, you probably at the same time could walk around with a sense of isolation, of knowing that there's a lack of connection with you and the people in your life. And is there another way to experience, I think, the fullness of life that's directed, like I said, not towards yourself, but being outwardly focused? And I think for somebody who is a Christian, to simply ask, is your faith about you? Is it a private affair? Do you go to church because it makes you feel good about yourself? And as part of you growing in love as a believer, as a follower of Jesus, is God asking you to stop focusing so much on yourself? As human beings, we have consciousness, and so with that comes the freedom to love or to not love. As St. Teresa of Avila said, Christ has no body now but yours. So God has no way to love the world now except through human beings. That's what he has chosen to be his primary sort of agents in the world, if you will, specifically the church.
How do you think society views love, and how does that differ from your own views?
I definitely think society thinks or portrays love as like something that's simple or easy to do, but it's definitely not. It's complex and it's hard to even understand, but I don't know, sometimes I'll be scrolling through my timeline on Twitter or something and I'll see retweet if you love God. Like, I don't think I need to retweet it. I just know I do, you know?
I think on social media like Twitter and Instagram, they're always like, oh, this is relationship goals and we're going on a cute date and he's taking me to the movies and we're just gonna hang out all day. But really, you're supposed to love like Jesus did. Jesus didn't take like people on like cute picnics and watch Netflix with them all day. He loved everyone in small ways. He's very loving and we should be loving just like him.
I think you're right. I think that society really views love as a very physical thing, like, you know, you hug, you kiss, you hang out. But, you know, love is deeply caring about someone else and, you know, wanting the best for them and wanting to know them better.
As someone pointed out in one of the earlier clips, that society really focuses on the physical part of love, like you said, and in movies they don't show the parts where they're spending time together and getting to know one another, but they're only showing the physical parts. So I don't think society understands that there are different levels of love, that you can love a stranger and you can love a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a family member, and it's all a different type of love, but it's still love, even the small acts.
Going off what Faith said, I think that society looks at love as something to just do in your spare time. Like, don't make it mean something. Just do it for the now and post it everywhere so people know, oh, I'm with this person, I'm in love with them. Like, no one wants it to mean anything anymore. They just want to do it for their own enjoyment and their own entertainment, no matter who gets hurt or not.
Yeah, people like just don't realize that. Like, there's a lot of like time and effort that goes into love. Like, it's not like something like, you're right, like society portrays it as like, we're in love, we're never gonna argue, nothing ever bad is gonna happen. Like, love, it's a challenge, but you know, a lot of people can handle it, fortunately. As Catholics, we understand that love is a gift from God that we selflessly give to others.
While we may feel a natural bond in relationships we hold dear, it's important to realize that the love we have for others is not a result of feelings, emotions, or impulses.
Love is a choice. We choose to love others regardless of whatever emotions we may be feeling.
The same can be said of our love for God.
Perhaps there have been times in our lives when we were angry or upset and looked at God for answers to our suffering.
We are making a choice to love Him, to trust Him, and to know that He will be there to carry us through.
However, as humans, we will all experience moments of doubt where God's love seems distant or just absent altogether.
Our spotlight guest, Matt Maher, was no stranger to doubt when he had to overcome a serious illness.
Through his suffering, he struggled to see God's love in his situation.
Let's hear his story now.
I think there's been many times where I've struggled with feeling the love of God. I spent almost 2 years doing a type of treatment for hepatitis C, and it was a very real low point in my life. Felt somewhat withdrawn from even myself in a way. And there's very real suffering that you can experience in that. The point of the cross is so that we find beauty in our suffering. It's not so that there is no suffering. Suffering's still very real. I'm turning 40 this year. My knees are starting to hurt. So I don't expect just because if I pray a lot that God's going to make my knees not hurt. Somehow he's going to miraculously like repair all the collagen. That's not the point. The point is that as we go through life and we experience these very human low points, that we recognize that God has transformed them because he's repaired the rift between heaven and earth. We can still experience his presence, his consolation, his love, and I think we begin to more and more so identify with the cross. Look at the gift of that as the greatest thing that God's ever given us, which is just simply himself. Which is why to then go from the cross and then go to the Eucharist, as a Catholic, I would say that I believe ultimately the Eucharist is the greatest description of love on the earth, because it's essentially God giving us himself. Like, that's all at the end of the day, that's all you can give of completely is yourself.
Have there been moments in your lives when you've struggled to see God in a situation? And what's the difference between our love and God's love?
I think that the moment when my parents started to struggle in their marriage was when I struggled to see God's love, because I feel that marriage is that sacred bond that is like given to you by God. And when there's turmoil or trouble that's happening within that marriage, the people surrounding the parents or the couple or whoever begins to feel like maybe God really doesn't want this to happen, or maybe it'll be like this for everyone. Like, you start to doubt how love really is. And then how God's love is different from our love is that his love is never ending. Our love is like, you can just turn it off whenever you feel like it. Like, oh, I'm gonna love you today, but tomorrow I'm just gonna be mad at you and not talk to you for 2 weeks. Like, it's really hard for us to truly love someone because we don't look at love like God looks at love.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think there's a definite difference between our love and God's love. But you know, when we're little and we were in religion class and our teachers were like, can you describe God for me? And my answer was always love. But you know, his love is almost indescribable.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference between our love and God's love is that God's love is eternal and unconditional. He will always love you no matter what you do. You know, as humans, it's difficult because, you know, sometimes people will make us mad or they'll disappoint us, and we still love them, just it's a bit difficult.
Yeah, that reminds me of a verse from the Bible. They used to say it all the time at Stations of the Cross. He wounds, but he binds up. He smites, but his hands give healing. And like that just goes to show how God's love is like eternal. Like he's always healing, no matter from the dark times to the good times.
Sometimes the easiest way for someone struggling to see God's love is to be that witness of Christ.
To really be present to someone who needs somebody to talk to or to offer guidance and support through a difficult situation.
Next, we would like to introduce you to our wild card guest, Jackie, a member of St. James God Squad in Red Bank, New Jersey.
We asked her why it was important to show her love for God and others.
Let's hear what she had to say.
I recently realized how important it is to show your love and appreciation for God and those around you, because I had not only my best friend, his cancer relapsed, I also had a cousin who has very serious cancer relapse after a year of remission as well. And I realized that I turned to God for help when this happened and when they were diagnosed, and that I didn't pray to God when everything was fine. I didn't show my appreciation and love. I didn't tell my friends and family, I love you, thank you for doing this. I didn't express myself, but then when things got bad, I suddenly wanted God's help, and I suddenly was telling my cousin and my best friend how much I love them, that they're gonna get through this. You can't wait till things turn bad to start showing people that you love them.
Yeah, that story really just illustrates how you need to always be grateful for what you have, because you don't know when things are going to take a turn for the worse.
And in those moments when things do take a turn for the worse, to try to find the beauty in them, like Matt was saying.
In order to pursue the right things, we need to make the daily choice to
pray every day and ask God to help you want what he wants.
and to help you find the courage within to act on those wants.
Because being human means we aren't perfect.
Sometimes we don't want the right things.
We might want money, popularity, or the newest phone.
But when we work to keep God present in our minds and hearts,
we can feel ourselves begin to want things that are more important.
Like justice, peace, and sacrifice.
Finally, our spotlight guest, Matt Maher, talks to us about the way modern society distorts and complicates God's love.
And how Christians are all called to show others love through our actions.
It's a never-evading topic. I think it's inexhaustible. We're definitely in a weird time where there's a lot of distortion about the nature of what is love in our society. Love became simplified because if you can simplify love in a soundbite world, you can put it on greeting cards and you can put it into cliches. And we live in a time when attention spans have become less and less and less. And so the ability to blow out the mystery and just say, well, love's really just about this. I think the job of us as Christians isn't to basically come up with necessarily better catchphrases. It isn't a marketing problem where we can take the mystery of church teaching on the human person and on love and on human sexuality and somehow say, well, you know, if we had $1 billion ad agency behind us and we could come up with better slogans, then people would believe in it. Because the problem is that some of this stuff is just, it is really complex and it's a mystery. And so I think sometimes the best thing we can do is just to simply love through our actions and help young people navigate the complexities of it and don't oversimplify it.
So how can we better recognize God's love and bring others to recognize it as well?
Well, personally, I got to recognize it and show it when I went to the nursing home with my grandmom and my sister. And it was so sweet to like talk to the older folks and hear like their stories about their past and play games with them. And it was like fun, and they really appreciated it and they felt loved.
I feel like another way we can show God's love is by volunteering and bringing in food for the food pantry. Because if somebody sees you bringing in like jars of peanut butter and jars of soup for those people, you're sharing God's love with them by being their food. You're bringing them supplies. And if somebody sees you doing that good deed, you might inspire them to bring in their extra groceries and to help out these people, which is spreading God's love.
I know that another way to show God's love is when my mom helped out this old man that was trapped in the Walmart parking lot after his car broke down. And she decided to bring him into our home, and she started to take care of him and to just let him have a laugh. It was kind of hard for me to understand why she brought this strange man into our house, but after a while I realized that it was the nicest thing that I could have seen anyone do as a 12-year-old, and I will never forget it.
I think that one of the best ways to show God's love in the world, or to recognize God's love in the world, is to be God's love. You know, like your mother did, you know, going out of her way to helping a stranger, you know, showing someone else that you care and that you're there for them.
Yeah, I love in Matt Maher's song how he talks about holding together the love and being your brother's keeper, so spreading the love to other people.
And it's not only just that song, he writes so many songs about love. When I saw him in concert, he was like talking about how he loves his wife and how he loves his children and how important love really is.
Yeah, and going back to what Jackie said earlier, we talk about like she talked about how you should always be grateful for like the people in your life, and you know I think that's like another definition of love. Like saying I love you is another way of saying like thank you for being there for me in times of need. You know.
And it's important to know that we will never be able to love others perfectly. That's what we look forward to in heaven.
But by actively trying to see God's love in our world, we can certainly love better.
So think about the relationships in your life. Are you being as loving as you could be?
What do you think you are doing well, and how could you do better?
A good idea to examine relationships in your life is to replace the word love in St. Paul's first letter to the Corinthians with your name.
Are you patient? Are you kind? Do you bring God's love to other people?
We are made in the image and likeness of God. When we give love to other people, it is a reflection of the love that God has for them.
Whether directly or indirectly, we help them to realize how much God loves them, and we all need a reminder of that from time to time.
How do you show God's love to others?
We'd love to hear from you.
Contact us at realfaithtv.com.
Or share your thoughts with us on Twitter.
And we'll leave you today with one more thought from St. Paul's letter to the Corinthians.
When I was a child, I used to talk as a child, think as a child, reason as a child. When I became a man, I put aside childish things.
At present, I know partially. Then I shall know fully. So faith, hope, love remain, these three.
But the greatest of these is love.
So remember to share the greatness of God's love with everyone you meet.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time on Real Faith TV.
God bless.
And thank you to Riley for joining us today.